Howdy, folks. Welcome. We got ourselves another grand old sparring session today. All right, so today we're going to be on to session number 2 with Supreme Kai, which was our Marissa player from the prior video. All right, when we were talking about structuring the neutral and offense and things of that nature. All right, so you guys can check that video out. As always, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are closing in on 7,000 subs. Pretty cool. I'm pretty hype about that. Progress is a good feeling in all areas of life. Like the video, of course. Comment below some sort of question, heartfelt message. I don't know, something that you've been thinking about. Any stream topics you want me to discuss, anything like that, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also helps with a little algo boost. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk to Mr. Kai. Hello, Kai.
How's it going?
It goes beautiful, my friend. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the progress since the last session. What were you working on? Anything that you've noticed in terms of like your progress? Anything you've noticed that is like still a thorn in your side? Feel free to take the stage.
Yeah, so obviously I've been playing my regular people. I still go to my locals and things like that. So the feedback I've been getting from other people is that my pressure seems to have gotten a lot better.
Ooh.
I'm still getting the feedback that I'm still trying to take my turn back when it's not necessarily my turn to take the turn back, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So that's sort of something I've been trying to work on the past couple of days. I've been trying to also work on, you know, getting better at sort of whiff punishing the Kens of this world. Trying to do like the crouching, is it the crouching low forwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to like whiff punish that a little better, trying to like bait it out and see what I can get off of it and things like that.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I'm glad because I remember you were saying like you felt kind of lost on offense. So step in the right direction, especially considering the game is more catered towards the aggressive style, right? Okay, so that's good. That's good. So as far as like the your turn, my turn thing, the more you explore that, then you know, you'll have more experience, right? Which ultimately will strengthen your instincts in those situations. Because right now it's probably like, because you're approaching it in a linear fashion, which is where the whole like lack of direction thing probably stems from, right? With any area that gives you a challenge. You know, just a little bit of structure like with the offense will probably help you with that too, right? So what I like to tell people about the your turn, my turn thing is the number one rule is when pressure ends, regardless of if you take your turn back or you allow them to you know, close the gap and reestablish pressure, regardless of what you do, there's no wrong answer, right? But there are wrong actions, and the number one most like the sinful thing you can do is just not being observant. Right? So like if you just allow that situation to occur where like pressure ends and you are not paying attention, you are just like blindly committing to things without interpreting things in real time, that is the ultimate sin. There is no particular right or wrong thing to do. The reason why is because everybody's different. So one thing that works against one particular player might not work against somebody else, right? But the one formula that does is observation, because through observation you'll be able to fine-tune your decisions to fit that player, right? So it's a matter of thinking about how do I increase my probability of success. It's just figuring out how to interpret the information and act accordingly, right? But if you don't take the time to learn your opponent, how are you ever going to do that, right? So what this means is you need to have a high failure rate at the particular thing you're trying to learn. This is something my mentor Kaizen Master taught me. He's like, yeah, if you want to be elite at anything, you have to have a high failure rate. Why? Because that means you practiced in that area a lot of times, right? And talk about deliberate failure. I'm not saying like the your turn, my turn, like you have had failures and successes at it, but deliberate practice, right? When you deliberately practice it, that's when you're expediting the learning process, right? So what I want you to do, like especially like in this session, you know, next 100 games, or you can start it right now, is when pressure ends, I want you to say out loud what is happening. So this is gonna be the first time I don't mute or deafen. I want you to practice just saying what's happening at the end of pressure. Your pressure and my pressure, okay? I just want you to practice that because this is a muscle. Right now, it's like we're at the gym, right? And you're just trying to bench press without any weight. So I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna go ham, right? I just want you to practice saying out loud. We're gonna do this on the stream. Every single time pressure ends, your pressure or mine. So let's say I push you away, you push me away. You're gonna be like, oh, he walked forward. Oh, he's crouching. Oh, he walked back. Oh, he whiffed a jab. Oh, he jumped. Oh, he drive rushed. Oh, he DI'd. Right? I want you to practice saying it out loud and don't care about anything else. Okay? Because the observation muscle is what we have to first work on. Okay? Because otherwise, if you just blindly take turns and not understand what's happening, you're just gambling. And we want to reduce gambling in this game, right? Okay? All right, so let's get into it, partner. All right.
Okay, so yeah, you press me in kick and kind of just let me step back.
Okay.
Okay, you're checking me stepping back now.
Okay. Nice.
I stepped back to try and stop you from light kicking me.
I don't know how to play her, but it's okay.
Nice parry. It throws me to the corner. I block the low.
Oop. Oh, 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 oh. Okay.
Round 2. Fight.
Where are you going?
Okay, driving bats me away. Trying to check me with a jab. Sweep. Jump. Drive rush in.
You see how you stop talking?
Yeah.
You see? That's what we gotta work on. Okay, so let me do it, right? I'm gonna do an example of this.
Okay.
Okay, right. Watch. Okay. All right. So I stomp. What do you do? Nothing. You walk. You kind of crouched. Okay. So now if I have an overhead, right, I might be able to just high-low you, right? If I was playing like a character that had a overhead, like what is?
Down forward, heavy punch.
Okay, so it's like this, right? Okay. So if I were to push you back, I'd say, okay, I'm gonna do this because you're likely gonna get hit because you keep walking, you keep like blocking right here, right? All right. So I see you're standing a lot, so I'm gonna low forward you. You see? Okay. Okay. Now you're crouching because the influence of this. So then I say, okay, you're this. All right. And now I've influenced you overhead. Okay. Whoop, nice. All right, let's see. Superman punch. Okay, so I'm gonna be mindful of that. That might not be real, right? It could just be you panicking because you're in burnout. So that might not be your real response. Push you away. All right, you press some buttons. Yeah, I can set up a whiff punish. If I was good with this character, maybe I'd be a whiff punish. Okay, I'm gonna back up. Let's see. What do you do? Just close the ground. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna fight and contest. Low forward, right? And then, okay, the DI. So you take a risk. Bang. See how different it is? I just cared about what was in front of me, right? Okay, so I do this. All right, you jump. All right, you're taking risks. You're taking risks when I push you backwards. So now I just have to simplify the game into punishing your risk taking. So Gladius is another form of risk, right? Okay, Gladius. Boom. All right, we're gonna get you back over here, partner. Let's have ourselves a doozy. Let's dance. You're in the corner now. I don't know, what can I do? I could dry rush, right? I'm not gonna dry rush. I'm gonna just do nothing. Haha. Okay, push you away. What are you gonna do? Could have killed me. All right. Okay. So now your turn. Let's go.
God. Okay, so you're checking me. You whip, so I get a punish. Trying to get out the corner. Nope. Put myself out. DI'd me out. your step kick. Step kicks again. DI'd Matt. Sliver of health. Throw. DI'd. Okay.
Now, see, you're just calling out things randomly, but you have to think of it like after what, right? Because you could, yeah, I could just DI you, but what does that mean, right? Like, it's after what? When I pushed back, I did this. You see? That's what you'd want to say. Okay, if I do this, I do Superman punch or something like that, right? Then it's like, oh, it's after the pushback, he did Superman punch. Okay, so that way there's like an understanding of the situations as it's happening.
Start the jumping throw. Try and check me from jumping out. The step kick, he jabs. Okay. God, this is hard.
Yeah, this is why you're doing it.
Trying to check me with the foot and then doing low forward. Sorry, medium forward.
Crouching medium punch. Yeah. And I don't know combos, but it's okay. And
yeah.
You see, I've simplified my interaction with you to just pushing you back and then you know, punishing the thing, either the big move, right, which would be like a whiff button or a jump, right? And then occasionally I make you think about this, see, and then I overhead, see, all because I saw you. And we'll go back.
Okay. Try to parry. Woke up parry again. Sweep because I was walking forward.
Yep. See? Nice. You're getting it. So you're aware of what I'm doing because of what you're doing. See? So now you can use that against me. So if you're like, oh, you're going to sweep when I walk forward, then maybe you could walk forward and then, you know, Superman punch or something like that. Right, like this. Boom. See, I see like you were walking back there, right? It's a very intense moment, so it's important to still have observation skills even in intense moments, because usually players get so tunnel visioned on winning and losing that they forget what they did to get them in the winning position in the first place, right? So you still want to play the same, right?
Yeah.
You still want to have that discipline. Okay.
Swept me because you've pressed heavy kick there like 3 times. Nice. Okay, you're just keeping me out with the lows.
Nice. That was good.
Round 2. Fight.
So this is good because there's no pressure on you to just practice this, right? This is why you don't want to be on ranked all day, because if you're on ranked all day, you're gonna contradict your focus at some point, right? Because you're losing a lot, your points are starting to dip. You're like, damn man, let me at least try to win a little bit, get my point. Like, no, this shit doesn't matter. Okay, this is all insignificant in the grand scheme of things compared to this. This is important. I push you back. Okay, you're starting to walk forward a little bit after my button, so I'm gonna start double pressing. See? Okay. Now I back throw you. We put you in the corner. Let me see. What do you do? What you gonna do? You gonna walk forward? You can walk forward. Ah, nice. Okay. Okay, Kai, your turn. Come on. Speak.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I know, but we're at the gym right now. The first day at the gym sucks, right?
So you're keeping me out with the lows because I'm just walking forward, not really pressuring anything.
Okay, nice.
To stop that.
Kind of make me think about that. That's good. Okay, next. Okay.
Trying to stay in the corner. Just trying to keep you in there. Ooh. Stop the overhead. Okay. I left the button so you punish me for it. Keep the pressure up, missed.
Ooh.
You just stumped away from me to aggress. Check me with a button.
Did you see how you hit me out of that Superman punch? Stuff like that's important, right? Because if you see I get hit out of it, then it's like likely I'm gonna try to do it again, right? See how I hit you out of Gladius? So I'm like, okay, he's gonna send something because I just punished that, right? And you see how you did the step kick, so I was prepared for it. Push you back. What are you gonna do? Okay, button. Let me frustrate you a little bit. And then
Where are you going?
Okay. I woke up. You yeah, drive reversal. Try to get yourself out the corner.
nice.
Yep, check the DI. Clear the driver.
Nice.
Nice. Got it. Yep, just checking me now. Throws me because I'm in burnout. It's a DI me. Sweep because I'm pressing the button. Checking the low kick.
Remember, speak. Don't focus on winning. Focus on the. You're dipping focus. You're starting to lose concentration. Right?
So you're checking. Yep, you're checking buttons with buttons.
Okay.
I keep. Yep, you did a low forward afterwards, so I need to.
Nice
check
option.
Stop the pressure. Yep, DI step kick. Oops, mistimed. Yep. Level wants to get out. That breaks it.
Oh yeah.
I've got you.
Tried to back throw, but you jumped. Keeping me out with the medium kicks. Reversal away into step kick. Oh, okay. Try reverse.
Round 2.
You notice I started doing light kicks, so you super punch over it.
Yep. Oops.
Throw in into step kick to keep the pressure. Brace the throw.
Or defend. Where are you going? Sweet dreams. I have
Yeah. Tried to read another step kick. Checking me with the buttons. Tried the heavy button, but you keep checking it with a medium punch.
Nice.
Back throws me for positioning.
Ooh.
That's it. Jazz me away to keep me in the.
So see, the biggest culprit of like your mistakes is always retaliating when I push you back. There's very little variance. Sometimes you gotta just let me play, right? That's what you'll see me do sometimes. I get active, but then other times I'm just really waiting for the big move, right? Like that jump, for example. Okay.
Okay.
Very nice.
Oops. So it's all about, yeah. Okay, I can see where. So you're pressing small buttons to try and stop me, and then a big button was pressed, and you basically died, almost died for it.
Yeah, basically that's it. Like TLDR. But it doesn't matter like your accuracy. It's just a matter of like this is the first day at the gym, right? So you got to get you to interpret what's happening in real time and understanding your influence simultaneously, right? Like, all right, walk back. Okay, all right.
Yep. So you keep walking back and taking a medium kick, and pushing you to the corner, checking me with jabs. You're sort of waiting for a point for me to make a mistake to jump out of the corner. Behind me back. Yep, trying to get back in the corner into step kick. Yeah. Just
So,
misrange.
so the throw tech situation is a situation that you can count as a pushback also. So that's a moment you should be observing also, right? It's like after throw tech, what happens?
You throw me down and you meet me with step kick. Take the throw and you just walk backwards.
Nice. There you go. That's a new one. You see, and then I've got you now on the point because I have such a life lead that you have to take a risk essentially, right? Because you have to take a risk, it simplifies the game for me. So I say, okay, what's the biggest move? So when I pushed you back, right, and we were like here, I go in order of like drive rush is the first thing I look for, right, and then jump, because jump is like, you know, it's so slow, right, in just comparison. It's drive rush, then I look for jump, and then everything else, it's too slow for it to be an immediate threat. So like walk up, right? By the time you walk up, I don't care. Like at this range, you have to walk up all the way here. You see what I'm saying? So when I push you back, it makes sense to look for the big moves because the undisciplined player, that's what they do. And players become undisciplined when there's pressure on them, right? AKA when they're about to lose, right? So you're about to lose, so it makes sense that, oh shit, fuck, I gotta get started. So of course you're gonna take the big risk, right? So that's why when I pushed you back, like if you ever get anti-aired with this by Marissa, it's because your jump was telegraphed, right? You would agree because it's so slow.
Yeah, it's not great.
Right, it's not that great. So if I'm hitting you with it, then that means, oh shit, there's something I'm doing that's like very obvious. There's no other reason for why this is working. Okay, so always think of that. Always think of like, depending on how, because that's why it's important to know your character, right? So it's like sneaking in a Superman punch in those type of instances, that shouldn't be easy to anti-air. So if you're getting anti-aired, if I like, for example, push you back, right? If I push you back and then I do this, you do that and I anti-air you, then it's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, either you've guessed right or like you were kind of looking for me to Superman punch next. It's like something I've done sort of maybe in previous rounds.
Maybe previous interaction, right? Because the thing is so if you notice when I was talking about you, right? So just hit me a couple times so that way you have more health than me. So what would happen is, right, so just block. Sometimes when I would like push you back, it wasn't always the same thing you did, right? You would cycle, you'd go like this, sometimes you do this, a lot of times you do this, right? You're cycling. But the idea is you're still taking a big risk, right? Because those are all moves that if I know it's coming, it's very easy to punish. These type of moves are very, you know, even if you know this is happening, it's not as big of a risk because these are still relatively difficult to deal with, right? But like the big moves, this, jumping, DIing, stand fears, right? Those are big telegraph moves. So you kept operating within that realm of risk. So there wasn't enough variance. So when you take your turn back, this is why it's important to just sometimes let your opponent play. Let them interact and exhaust themselves. Okay, so that way they can reveal things about them. So that's what was happening with me and you. It was like, I just pushed you back and then you just kept cycling between these options. So I just had to look for, let's say, if this is why you have to practice things in training mode, right? It's like you go in training mode and you practice. All right, I'm gonna have Marissa do, this move, right? And then I'm gonna have her do Superman punch. I'm gonna have her do jump, and then you practice punishing all three of those things. So what happens in your brain is when you practice punishing those things, you don't feel as anxious about it because you already know. All right, well, I know if I block this, this is punishable, right? You could punish that with a jab, okay? You see? So you could punish that, and then so you know that. All right, so I don't have to punish that on startup. Okay. If I do the heavy version, you could tell this shit is slow as fuck. So then you could just DI it on reaction, right? So DI this. See, I'm cooked, right? Even if you're not looking for it, it's so slow. All right. If I do the light one, you'll know because it's a lot faster, and then you just punish it with the jab, right? Okay. So then you know, right? All right, so then that's just what I do about that. So then you go and lab that, obviously figure out what the optimal punish is. And then what you're really looking for, it's the same thing like what we talked about with the jumps and the dashes, right? It's like, what is the fastest thing that I could do? It's this, okay? So you would look for this, right? And then maybe look for this, and then jump would be the next thing. So I would replace jump with instead Superman punch, okay? If you want to punish, you don't have to punish this because if you block this, right? Knock my health down. Okay, a little bit more, just in case I accidentally hit you. All right, so let's say if like you block this, right? If I do this, you're not in throw range, so there's nothing to be worried about. I don't have a low that can like cancel into anything, right? I could do this and knock you down, but like you could walk back and still kind of react to it and block it and then punish me. So this is like Superman punch in terms of the mental stack is not really that scary if you think about it. So this is how you like delete things from your mental stack. You're like, this isn't really that significant. So when it comes to the your turn, my turn thing, you don't have to worry so much about Superman punch. You do have to worry about it if you're active. You see?
Yeah.
Because why? Because it low crushes you, right? So because it low crushes you, then it's like, all right, I have to be very attentive because I'm being active. But if you're being passive, this is how you explore the options and say, well, if I block this, can I punish it? I can punish this, okay, but you can't punish this. But the thing is, look how far I am. There's nothing. There's nothing here, guys. There's nothing to be scared of, right? It does do a half a bar of drive, but at that point, like, it's not that serious early in the game. Like, who cares, right? Like, yeah, she builds a good chunk of super, but it's still not the end of the world. So you don't have to worry about that. So, you know, when you're not active, you're passive, you can delete this and instead focus on the jump, focus on the drive rush, right? Because what ends up happening is when you're passive, you could literally just perfect parry this and then she gets fucking cooked, right? And if you regular parry, who cares? Because you don't lose any drive gauge, right? So you just gotta do a little later. See? And then you would punish me, and then boom, I get snuffed, right? Like you send me to the corner, you get all the momentum, cool. All right. So when you're passive, you don't have to worry about that. This is mad important because there are certain moves like her Superman punch where they're not actually that scary when you're passive. When you are active, this is when you could get fucked up because I can low crush you. I can get started off of that, right? So you have to be mindful of this. But if you do want to punish this, you know, you can neutral jump this, right? There's other options you can incorporate. But in terms of being passive, this is what's going to help you get comfortable and be like, oh, it's not the end of the world. Okay, let me just hit you so I can make sure we go to 3 rounds. All right, so does this make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel?
Yeah, not bad. It makes a lot of sense. I feel like I definitely should I guess I'm more like you said. It's very much like a one path sort of mentality that I need to break.
Yes.
It's I guess adding layers to the gameplay.
Yeah, and in order for you to add layers, it has to be a certain level of trust between me and you, right? Because how are you supposed to know that I'm gonna go through these layers with you, right? It's like if we're playing, like, what is that game when you guys are like tied by the legs and then you're like you're racing together? I don't know the name of it.
Like three-legged racing.
Yeah, like a free, like, exactly, right? Like it's like you need me as much as I need you, right? But if you're going at a completely different speed as me, you're gonna trip and stumble, and then now it's a gamble, right? So there has to be some sort of cooperation between the two of us. But how can you have cooperation when you have energy blockages against me? Doesn't make sense. Right? You're just like so you're so like selfish that you only want to play your game. You only want to win the way you want to win, but you're not allowing me to contribute to that image. Everybody has an image of how we're supposed to win, right? I'm supposed to win like this. So when something seems to contradict it, or it's a different path, it might scare us a little bit, because then it's like it's a unfamiliarity, it's an unknown. I'm not sure if I'll be able to win like that. So then you try to force the way you usually win, right? But to increase your stability in this game, you have to let your opponent kind of play a little bit. Doesn't mean you let them go fucking rampant, but when they do stuff, you don't go like, you know, get batshit crazy. You can hit me, by the way, right? You don't have to allow them to play so much so that, like, you know, that you're constantly on defense. What I'm saying is you let them show and reveal themselves in snippets, right? You don't have to always act, because remember, when we're acting, we're constantly doing stuff. I'm vulnerable also. So if you just so happen to Superman punch me when I'm vulnerable, I could get hit, and then it's like that was a gamble, because we just both threw options at each other. Whereas I'm trying to minimize the RPS aspect of it, and I'll let you play, and then at the same time, I'm not really showing you anything, but you're showing me everything, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what you're doing? Okay, cool. Right? So this is very, very crucial to being successful at the whole your turn, my turn thing, okay? Because what you were doing before, remember at the start, is like you would just kind of throw things out, but then you notice as you were getting more and more comfortable, you were seeing what I was doing, you saw this, and what'd you do? You did this. You see? That's the stuff I'm talking about. So when you watch your replays, you want to see, like, what interaction in that your turn, my turn am I not really stopping successfully, or am I not even paying attention to in the first place? That's where you're gonna get the most value out of watching your replays. Because I remember you asked me, right? You were like, oh, how do I, you know, go about watching my VODs? This is a really, really easy way of doing it. What hit me? Okay, so I'm gonna push you back. What hit me after he pushed me back? Oh, he jumped. Okay, so after pushback, he jumped. You see, that's the when. After this is when he hit me with that, right? Okay, so now you know, you have that satisfied, so you can use that against me. Okay, or after this, he did this. Okay, you see, after throw. So just throw tech 1 2 3.
Sorry.
Oh, he did Superman punch after throw. You see what I'm saying? Because the pushback's the same. So you want to use this pushback, these moments, right? You want to leverage these moments as like opportunities to become one with your opponent. But if you're so fixated, bro, on win, how are you supposed to do that?
Yeah, it's such a hard sort of phallus to break. Like, I know winning is kind of why we play this game. You know, no one plays to lose, but I think you gotta, you know, break a few eggs to make an omelet sort of mentality. Okay.
So when you're playing, this is why it's important to have like sessions with people who are like-minded, right? Because if you go into ranked, you're gonna have a bunch of monkeys and gorillas that are just trying to, by any means necessary, win, right? And they try to force situations. They don't really cooperate with you. Okay. So if you want to practice something specific, you want to use lounges, right? But if you're trying to practice playing against the field, that's where ranked is valuable, because it'll help you, especially in an environment like an Evo, right? In those 2 out of 3s, it helps you build that willingness to observe. Because if you go to Evo next week and you're not doing this, it's a gamble. Whereas if you're willing to allow the opponent to kind of reveal themselves a little bit, then it's a lot easier for you to defeat your enemy without exerting too much force. That's what true power is, right? Because it's like, instead of trying to just use pure force and breaking your teeth, You just figure out where in their play can you redirect the energy in such a subtle way that you could just collapse their entire body. Boom. They just knock out with very little force applied. Right? It's like when I did the pushback, stand short, and then you did Superman punch, right? That's a really cool way of doing that, right? But then there's other ways of doing this. You don't have to fall in love with the same way. Another thing that you did was pretty cool was you did the walk up crouch medium punch buffer, right? You could buffer on it. Okay, so it also helps you to figure out what the things that you do that play into your demise by ultimately supporting your opponent's redirection of your energy. So for example, if you see somebody buffering, why would you drive rush, right? Wouldn't that doesn't make sense, right? Like, why would I give you what you want? So it helps you figure out like how you could call out your own contributions to your losses a lot faster. Right? And it's not in a way where you're like, oh, I suck, or you're not like, you know, you don't want to like obviously take a brunt on your confidence, but you'll do it in a more gentle, objective way where you're like, okay, yeah, the drive rush there, that's contributing to what he's trying to accomplish because he's showing me the buffer. If I see the buffer, you don't even have to do anything about the buffer right away, right? Because guess what happens if you don't give him if you allow him, right, to play and do the buffers, he might reveal what he does next if you don't do anything to the buffers. You see what I'm saying? So some people, when they buffer, you don't give it to them, they might drive rush. So guess what? Instead of you punishing the buffer, you're like, oh, I'm gonna just punish the drive rush because he keeps drive rushing when I don't do anything about the buffer. See what I'm saying? He keeps jumping when I don't do anything about the buffer, or he does Superman punch, or they DI, right? Like, now you get to see like how you're influencing your opponent, not only by doing stuff, but by also not doing anything. Make sense? Okay. So, okay, let's talk about it. What do you think? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just need to find, sort of like you said, find the options. It seems very much like it's not imposing your, it's sort of like, oh, you do this, figure out what I do against that, and then sort of like play this almost like chess-esque. Oh, you've moved your rook, I maybe need to move a pawn in a certain place sort of mentality to sort of like, I don't know how to describe it other than not imposing your game plan, but sort of like doing things to make the opponent do something so then you can counter that.
Well, you still are imposing your game plan by putting yourself in situations that you can get the most information or the most influence. So you're still proactive, you're still imposing, you still have initiative, right? Like in chess, like you're basically still white and you know, black is responding. But the thing is, you're seeing how black is responding. Are they attacking queen side? Are they trying to attack the open file, right? Are they, what are they trying to do? But you're still playing your game, right? Because remember, there's thousands of ways of being able to respond to one stimuli, but the idea is to figure out which one do they prefer, right? And you know, by doing that, you again, we are not going to be right all the time, but the idea is to increase the probability of success. So you're still playing Kai's game, but now you're just more flexible about it, where it's like, it's not just a one player game anymore. Now it's like, okay, let me let you be a part of my dance. It's still my dance, it's still my music, but I just still want to see like, what are you going to do about it? Because in this game, you don't want to play in their game, right? Because if you play in their game, then you can lose, right? Like Zangief doesn't want to play full screen against Dalsum, and that's not what I'm saying either, right? Like you shouldn't want to do that. But in Zangief's game, when he has that pressure, that proximity, what is Dalsum going to do about this? You see, you don't have to break your teeth and always do something. You can let your opponent, that's the whole term of letting your opponent hang themselves, right? It's just like a willingness to allow your opponent to express their interest, express their desires in a moment where there's pressure on them, right? You could just delay, you basically, it's like a form of delayed gratification. You're not trying to force the victory right now, right? And then the real reward is the information you gain from your opponent, because information is everything in war. right? You don't want your if your life is on the line, Kai, and you have to fight somebody to the death, you don't want to fight against somebody who you don't know what their play style is, what their martial arts style of choices, right? You don't want to get as much information as possible. Be like, oh, this dude is a southpaw boxer. Okay, now I know he fights like this. Okay, he's weak to takedowns. Okay, so I'm gonna take advantage of that, right? That's the right amount of pressure would force you to then, you know, you don't want to be predictable, and you want your opponent to be predictable, so you're gonna do your research. So it's the same thing, but the idea is when you don't have that mindset, that urgency, this is why people get, like me for example, I used to get really upset when people would just not adapt. Like, yo, why aren't you adapting? But it's actually good if you don't adapt, because that means you're not increasing the chances of being unpredictable. Because if you adapt, I don't know how you're going to adapt, right? You can adapt in 1,000 ways, but if you keep doing the same thing, you're doing the same thing. Make sense? Right, so I should play with that as like in mind. Like I should be like thinking of being having gratitude towards that. Oh, I'm fortunate that this guy's not changing. It's gonna make my path easier. Right? Of course, in training, you want it to be challenging, but I'm saying in terms of like in competition, you want to win, right? So it's like the path of least resistance. But in training, you obviously want to be, you know, go against the grain and fortify strength by putting yourselves in difficult situations, things that bring out strength. But in an actual combat situation, I am trying to exert the least amount of effort, because, you know, that way you don't fatigue. It's not so strenuous that you bring about stress on yourself, right? You don't complicate things. Simplicity is mad important. So when you do this whole like, let them play, it's a form of reducing unpredictability, because they're revealing stuff to you. If the person's about to lose, Kai, and you see that they jump, you don't think that means that when they're uncomfortable, they're a jump heavy player, right? So then now you could use that against them, not only in that round 2, round 3, game 2, round 1, round 2, round 3. If there's a game 3, round 1, round 2, round 3. You see what I'm saying? You can now use that against them, because when people are uncomfortable, it's very difficult to be conscious. Because it's usually when their fight or flight takes over. This game is purely psychological. This game is literally that. Players that can understand mindset and transitions and stuff like that, those are the players that excel.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
It definitely makes sense.
So now you have a little bit of structure of that. It's going to be interesting to see how you look the next session after 100 games of practicing this. So that's your homework. I just want you to practice saying it out loud, because if you don't say it out loud, you're going to just revert back to your old habits of just doing things nilly-willy. So remember this quote, guys. Any habit that you stop doing once is a mistake, right? Like a good habit. It's a mistake the first time, but the second time you do it, it's the start of a new habit. So you have to remember that. The more chances you give yourself to stop doing something that you're working on, then you're reverting back to another habit, right? So just remember that. You're gonna have some losses, you're gonna have some errors, that's all a part of the process. So you just have to be fair with yourself and remember that, because I know, you know, MR is like, it's like the social currency. Yeah, I'm 1600, I'm 1700, I'm mad good. Fuck all that. That shit doesn't mean anything. What really matters is your consistent growth. You understand? Rome wasn't built in a day. A lot of people go on ranked and they try to build Rome in a day by hitting legend. Just put one brick at a time and eventually you'll be legend and be like, oh shit, I'm here. Whoa. Okay. All right, so tell me your 3 favorite things, good pal.
I liked the fact that we literally got to play, and then once things sort of weren't going right, we stopped and we talked about it, and then very much like the whole talking out loud aspect is something I really enjoy. Even though I'm not very good at it, it's nice to sort of see where I'm going wrong in my own head, rather than someone telling me what I'm doing wrong. I like the fact that I'm starting to build sort of options. It's not just, oh, wake up Gladius. It's, oh, they're doing this, I should do that. Sort of thinking about things rather than just pressing buttons. The quote of, you know, it should be a dance is really sitting with me, and it's something I really need to think about. So it's something that I've got fruit for thought.
Beautiful. This is beautiful. I'm hype, and it's cool because I could see I could see your progress every single time we play, right? And it's exciting because you're gonna surprise yourself. Because the way, especially with the way this game works, is you could lose to something so small, right? And then your losses all feel the same, and then you don't really see your progress until randomly one day things just all click, and you've minimized your mistakes, and you've also optimized your decisions, your questions, and then all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, I feel like a new player. It's a great feeling. And that's one of my favorite feelings as a teacher, is to see that, you know, but not for me to see it, for you to see it. For me to see you seeing it is a great feeling, because it's like, whoa, like I'm reliving it myself, you know.
Yeah,
So, I'm proud of you. Keep it up, you know. Just remember, because I know you're hard on yourself, which is good. You have high standards, right? But you still have to be fair. You know, you are learning. This is a very challenging game. It's not an easy game, and you're doing something that most people, they give up on very quickly, you know. And as long as you stay open-minded, and show that acceptance towards the things that you're not comfortable with, towards play styles, people, whatever, everything, just be more accepting of things, and you'll feel that unity will actually it'll translate really well into your game, and then that harmony will take you to another level.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
All right, bruv. I appreciate you, Kai. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Shout outs to Kai, everybody. We appreciate you. Catch him on the Discord. Hit him up for some games. Kai will gladly play you.
Indeed.
All right. All right. I'll catch you.
Peace.